Hey, what's up guys? I'm gonna unbox and review the Navee V40 Pro. This is one of those really good budget scooters according to the specs and the price. So I'm gonna unbox this thing, we're gonna review it. I'm gonna show you guys all the parts that comes with it. So this is supposed to be on the lighter side. It goes up to 20 miles an hour, 19.9 technically, and has up to just about 25 miles of range. Granted, that really depends on your weight. And it depends on, if you're gonna do hills and other things like that. All right, so it comes with the user manual, a tire pump extender, a smaller size Allen wrench, and this actually goes inside the folding mechanism in the scooter if you guys wanna put an AirTag inside. It's actually a pretty cool idea. And we got the power supply. It is 100 to 240 volts. That's what it looks like. We got a little LED indicator here. And that's what the plug looks like. So to fold the scooter, this one is a bit different from the other scooters. And in fact, it actually folds a little bit better. So you pull this down, bring this out, turn the handlebar, and then you get this normal folding thing right here. And you basically connect it like that, and then you're good to go. So this is about where it is. It's definitely on the lighter side of scooters. And then when you're done, take it up, click this in, open this up, and you're done. So the AirTag holder actually goes inside here. So you basically pop your AirTag in here. Again, it does not come with an AirTag. This is completely optional. So you open this up, there's a little bit of a hole right here, and you kind of got to put it in there and then close it up, and boom, you're done. All right, so taking a closer look, we have the rear disc brakes right here. We have some reflectors, we have the tail light. This is where it clips in when it's folding. This is the other side. We have a rubber deck, at least that's what it feels like. I like the fact that they put a charging sign right here. Open that up, plugs it in right there, good to go. We have the kickstand, overall pretty nice feel. We have 10-inch pneumatic tires, both front and back. We have the electric motor up front, which is supposed to have regen braking or e-braking. EABS is what they call it. We have the clip, super easy to do and undo. Coming back up, we have a reflector. We have the headlight right here. We have the handlebar, screen, everything. Now the cool thing about the scooter that I've never seen before is this thing folds. And so it's actually much easier to store away. And in fact, it comes assembled right out of the box. You just need to undo this and you're good to go. For the controls, we have our rear disc brakes. We have our bell. This is also the part that clips in when you're folding it. We have our screen, we have our power button, hold it for a second or two, it turns on. We have our speedometer, we have our battery indicator, and we have our mode, which is currently in sport. If I tap this once, it's gonna turn on the lights, and I tap it again, it's gonna turn off the lights. If I double tap, it's gonna go to the walk mode, double tap again, it's gonna go to the standard mode, and double tap again, it's gonna go to the sport mode. Now we have our throttle. Now in order to get the app, you would scan this QR code, or you could just go to the App Store and download the My Home app, or you could go to the Play Store and download it from there. So I got it on the iPhone. I'm pretty sure it's available on the Play Store as well, but we're gonna stick to the iPhone for this demo. So this is what it is. You would add this, and then scooter shows up. You could change the name. It tells you how much battery is left. This is the tire maintenance that it's supposed to remind you every month to make sure it's pumped and things of that nature, essentially. So current mileage, I haven't ridden it yet. Average speed is 0. Obviously I haven't ridden it. So if I want to lock it, I could take it this way, and then it becomes incredibly hard to push where the scooter's actually going up and I'm not even doing anything. And it's also blinking as well. And then I can unlock it, and then boom, it's good to go. And then I can enable cruise control if I want to. I'm not a fan of cruise control, so I'm not going to enable that. The tail light can always be on, and I can have automatic sensor controlled headlamp. So I guess when it gets dark, it'll turn it on. And then the energy recovery is the regen brake. So if you want it on low, medium, or high, which is pretty much when you let go of the throttle, how fast do you want it to slow down to charge the battery. So I ran it through my usual tests of flats, inclines, and declines. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about the scooter, I am keeping price in mind. So starting off with some things that are immediately noticeable. Number one, the scooter feels premium. It feels like it's a one-piece build. It's not shaking, it's not gonna fall apart. It just feels solid, which is good. Number two, it has a fairly powerful motor compared to other budget scooters. And number three, the screen is nice and wide and easy to read, even in direct sunlight. I actually really like the screen of this scooter. So let's start with the flats. It takes me up to 20 miles an hour with good acceleration. Now, Don't expect acceleration like you would get from a Segway GT2, which pretty much just launches you. But this thing, for its price range, very good actually for acceleration. So on the streets, it's pretty smooth thanks to its pneumatic tires. Even though it doesn't have suspension, it's still, again, fairly smooth. So that's kind of one of the trade-offs that you get. So pneumatic tires are smoother scooters compared to the honeycomb tires, but the honeycomb tires, you're not going to get it flat. You don't need to check the air pressure. So however, the ride quality isn't as smooth, so keep that in mind when you're deciding on what scooter to get. So let's get to the hills, which is really where most of these budget scooters suffer. And thanks to me weighing around 200 pounds or 91 kilos, it really makes a difference, you know, when I'm going up some of these hills. And no surprise here, it did suffer on the hills. However, 2 of the 3 hills it actually did fairly well. The lengthy hill, even the lengthy hill, it did fairly well compared to other budget scooters where I didn't have to do a zigzag motion. So some of the other scooters that I test, some of them can't make the lengthy hill, and some of them I have to do a zigzag where I go side to side just so it can get me up the hill. This one I didn't need to do that, which was actually really, really good. So it did make it 3 out of the 3 hills. So I'm going to call this one a win actually. Now, for the downhills, it actually goes faster than its maximum rated speed limit. It actually goes, I saw it go up to 26 miles an hour, and you don't have to hold the throttle when you're going downhill because it really makes no difference whether you're holding it down or not. Gravity is really just doing all the work. And the scooter does feel stable, and one of the reasons for this is because it has a wider handlebar, and it just, I don't know, it just feels very good and stable. And another thing that's very important, especially when you're going downhill, are the brakes. So the brakes, you have 2 options. So number 1, you have the standard rear disc brakes, which provides a uniform feel. So it's a linear feel. It's not like you're holding the brakes and then it goes from no stopping power to insane stopping power where it feels like it's going to throw you off the scooter. The rear disc brake itself, if you're trying to slow down immediately, it's not going to have enough power to do that, to slow down very, very quickly. So that's why they also have the electronic brake, which is which gives you the regen brake in the front. So if you set that to the medium or the high setting, that combined with the rear disc brakes gives you abundant stopping power. So just got back from my ride and I plugged it in to charge. I mean, I waited about 10-15 minutes or so and plugged it in to charge, but I have the hot temperature sensor on and it's currently not charging. So this can be viewed as a good thing and a bad thing. Starting with the bad, if you just got back and you want to plug it in and charge it right away, it's just not going to let you charge it. So you're going to have to wait some time, which is not great if you're planning on using it, again, right away. However, the good side is that because of this, it's actually going to let the battery cool down. And because it's going to allow the battery to cool down, it's actually going to prolong your battery life. So it's a good thing from that perspective. But what do you guys think? In terms of foldability, this scooter is amazing. This scooter is the best scooter I have tested to date because the handlebar twists. Because of that, it actually goes into the trunk of my car much easier. Not that the other ones were bad. I mean, most of the other budget scooters fit in my trunk just fine. But in terms of the best foldable scooter, it has to go to this just because it twists the handlebar. It's such a genius idea. I can see other scooters picking this up. So I did want to give props to them for actually coming out with this idea. Really, really good. So to summarize, this scooter is very good for the price. It can climb hills, has good acceleration, and it's very, very portable, as I mentioned, and it has a premium feel. So overall, very pleased with the scooter. But let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to this channel and hit the bell for notifications. And yeah, give it a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.